G'day, I'm Jibb Smart and this is
Spin Rhythm!
It's a great rhythm game that lets players play in a wide variety of ways.
3, 2, 1, go!
For this video, I've played a bunch of songs with 5 different control settings, one of them not actually included in the game, but I've faked it here in ways I'll explain later. One of the other ways to play the game is with gyro. Yes, Spin Rhythm has gyro controls built in, so we'll have a look at that too. But first, if you're unfamiliar with the game, you'll want a quick rundown of how to play it. Here I'm playing with keyboard and mouse, which is how most players will play. You can even play with just the mouse, which is super handy for those looking for the simplicity of playing games one-handed. Click and drag the mouse left and right to turn this wheel and match up the colours on the track. Sometimes you'll have to tap the mouse button as blocks reach the wheel, click and hold while turning the wheel left or right, or flick the wheel in a given direction. There's a little more to it, but those are the basics. This game can actually be played with DJ controllers too. Unfortunately, I don't have any such controllers, so I'm not showing them here. Still, the mouse controls are direct enough that I think it mostly captures the spirit of playing with a real jog wheel. When turning the wheel with the mouse, there's an unusual amount of input lag, but at least it's consistent. So while you probably feel it when you first start playing, you'll adapt pretty quickly. So that's control setting number 1, the mouse. Number 2 is with gyro controls, or motion controls as they're called in the game's settings. The game uses Steam input, so any gyro controller supported by Steam, such as the Steam controller, Switch Pro controller, or PlayStation's DualShock 4 will work this way. As long as you're pressing the hold button, turning your controller left or right will turn the wheel. This means you can release the wheel and reposition yourself if you need to. The settings are super simple, just a sensitivity slider. I wouldn't mind being able to choose a different axis of rotation for the controller, but besides that, while I usually advocate for more settings, the range of movement required in the game is small enough that I think it's unlikely to be a problem for anyone. It is less responsive than I like, but it doesn't feel any laggier than the mouse controls, so it's probably not an issue with how the game uses gyro input specifically. If the developers fix that problem with the mouse, my guess is that problem will be fixed here as well. The gyro controls in this game are not as easy to use as the mouse, but it is fun to play with, and it feels true to the spirit of the game to be moving back and forth with the melody or flicking side to side. The reason I bring up whether it feels true to the spirit of the game is control settings number 3 and number 4 do not feel true to that spirit. I'm talking about controlling the wheel with a thumbstick. Tilt the stick to the left to turn the wheel to the left, right to turn the wheel to the right, and of course you can control the speed of the spin by how far you press the stick. This is a less direct way of controlling the wheel. It feels like sending instructions to the wheel rather than rotating it yourself. It's the same problem that makes aiming in shooters feel less direct with thumbsticks than aiming with a mouse. And like trying to aim in shooters, it's also harder to be precise with a thumbstick. The developers of Spin Rhythm have been mindful of that with gamepad aim assist enabled when you start the game. This helps with lining colours up, and I do still feel in control, but I can also feel the aim assist helping me, adjusting the wheel speed as I go. So that's control setting number 3, and number 4 is the same but without aim assist. I was pleasantly surprised by how playable the game is without aim assist, but can also see the benefit to having aim assist there, and I'm glad players have the option to play either way. It's great that players can play with DJ controllers, with a keyboard and or mouse, with gyro controllers or with thumbsticks. The developers have gone out of their way to make this game playable by as many people as possible, which is really cool. It's just a pity that the thumbstick controls aren't as fun as the other options, and feel disconnected from the actions the game itself is making. Many players don't have controllers with gyros in them. Xbox controllers are hugely popular, for example. So can we make the thumbstick controls better? Can they feel more directly connected to the on-screen action, and be more fun to play with? Let's look at control setting number 5. Tilting either thumbstick engages the wheel just like clicking the mouse. The direction you first tilt the stick doesn't matter at all, just like how it doesn't matter where you touch the jog wheel on a DJ controller. Once the stick is engaged, you can rotate the stick to rotate the wheel. And that's just about all there is to it. With the right sensitivity setting, rotating the stick is precise enough to match the colours pretty easily. You can tap the stick at the right time to get tap blocks or use a dedicated tap button, and flicking the wheel left or right feels really good.
Show 'em how we do it, it's like...
I've made this work by faking mouse inputs with Joy-Shock Mapper. Those who already use it will notice it works very similarly to flick stick, but without the flick, and with the left mouse button simulated when engaging the stick. The public version of Joy-Shock Mapper doesn't have these options yet, but I'll figure out some way to expose these settings in a future update. For now, you can get it partly working with Joy-Shock Mapper's flick stick setting. You can get a sense of some of the input lag I talked about earlier by watching for how long the in-game wheel takes to respond to inputs you see on the 3D controller overlay. That overlay is shown live on my screen, and while it's quicker to show my actions than most games are, the difference usually isn't this big. But, lag aside, I'd love to see this input mode in the game. Maybe a toggle for the stick controls between classic and spin or something. It'll need a sensitivity slider, and it could also use a toggle to decide whether or not the wheel is automatically engaged when using the stick, or if another button needs to be pressed. I have both working here. I've made it fully symmetrical. Both thumbsticks can be used, and D-pad buttons mirror the face buttons if you want a tap input. I'm using the shoulder buttons for the green beats you get on higher difficulties. On some songs, I'm finding I do a little better playing like this than with the mouse, while other songs favour the mouse. I reckon this way of playing the game really opens it up to be better enjoyed on a wider variety of controllers, and makes the thumbstick controls feel more direct, more fun, and more in the spirit of using a DJ's jog wheel. Thanks to the folks behind Spin Rhythm for sending me the game. It's really cool to see gyro controllers embraced like this. Spin Rhythm is on Steam, and I'll have a link to it in the description below. It's in early access, so I'm sure we'll continue to see it improve. Perhaps we'll see the input lag reduced, and maybe we'll see new ways to play it like I've shown here. Thanks for watching. While I usually focus on how good gyro controls can improve a game, that's because so many games could benefit from them. But I'm also always looking for other ways to make games easier to pick up, more fun to play, or better for competitive players. You can find a fair bit of that on this channel already. Watch this space for more, and let's change how games are played.